Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to this week's episode of Dear Nero, the weekly Q&A here on the channel where subscribers send in questions, and I answer them. It's a pretty simple process. We have a normal episode this week, not bringing anybody on, although you guys have expressed some interest in me bringing on like other YouTubers, other family members, things like that, onto the series here so they can answer questions with me. And if you guys want to see that, I can definitely look into that for you, because I think it'd be a lot of fun to reach out and connect with some other content creators and family members and things like that, and bring them on and just throw questions at them and see how they respond. I think that could actually be pretty cool. But for this episode, we have a normal episode, and we're going to be starting off with the first question coming in from SG Refuse, who writes, Dear Nero, if you had to make a COD, what would you do? What would the third game mode be? What time era would you like the most? And would you have jetpacks if the era is futuristic? Or would you like to see a mashup COD like Call of Duty Mobile be fleshed out and put on console/PC? So, obviously, I would like to see a Call of Duty Online style game, like a best of COD, like a picture like a normal COD that comes out on your console and on PC that's basically like COD Mobile, but is for, you know, actual platforms, I suppose, where it's a best of, where you have like all the best maps, all the best guns, all the best kill streaks, constant updates, and things like that. That would be so cool. But I feel as though we're a ways away from that actually happening. So if I had to come up with a COD to make and have everyone try to enjoy, it would be a World War II/Vietnam game. It'd basically be kind of like World at War and Black Ops 1 kind of combined, like everywhere from like 1940 to 1970 to 1980, something like that. And I think it'd be pretty cool because you could have a lot of different cool weapons from different time periods there. You could really go crazy with the maps. Like, you could have, like, something like Castle from World at War, like, you know, Japanese Imperial Castle. They can also have, like, the jungles of Vietnam, and you can do stuff in Hawaii. You can do so much cool stuff. Like, you do a lot with that setting. I think, for me personally, that'd be the setting I would like to see most, because they haven't really explored too much the idea of a Vietnam Call of Duty game. I know a lot of people like modern stuff, but for me personally, and the question's for me, I suppose, I'm not super into modern stuff, really, as much as I am, like, World War II and Vietnam and Korean War and stuff like that. So I would definitely do that time period. The third mode would, of course, be zombies, but actual good zombies, you know, actual proper old school Treyarch zombies. Picture Black Ops 3, but better. That's what I would hope for. Obviously, jetpacks would not be there. And I feel so overall that'd be a really fun COD game. I really enjoy the World War II setting. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm able to suffer through Vanguard better than I could Modern Warfare 2019. But yeah, that's what I would do for a game if I could like come up with an idea for a COD title and like what I would like to push for a Call of Duty title. And plus, they could do some cool stuff with Warzone as well, making like a Vietnam style map for Warzone, make it more jungle-y and stuff like that. It could be pretty cool. But the next question here is going to be coming in from Vic, who writes, Dear Nero, how do you think Vanguard will look in 3 seasons? So we're talking like season 4 of 6 for Vanguard. I think the game is going to look a lot better. That's another reason why I continue on with this game. I keep chugging along despite the fact that the game has so many problems and so many issues, is because you look at what happened with Modern Warfare 2019, you look what happened with Cold War. Eventually the game does get fixed, and eventually the game does get a lot better. And in 3 seasons, I feel as though we're going to have a ton of maps. They're going to start bringing back some more remakes, I would imagine, but we're going to have a ton of maps when that actually happens, which will be pretty cool. We're going to have a ton of weapons. Hopefully, Atomic is actually fixed. Hopefully, they do more cool things with operators. And in general, I think the game itself, we're going to have more kill streaks, I would imagine, more perks, more equipment and stuff. So I think in general, things are going to look a lot better and play a lot better. It just sucks that we have to wait like 6 months after the game comes out for the game to actually feel playable, especially when, no matter what, like clockwork, another Call of Duty title is going to be coming out right after that. So we'll be 6 months into this game's life cycle. The game will finally feel complete and like it should have had been at launch, and then we're already like getting trailers and stuff for the next Call of Duty title. It's a vicious cycle. It sucks, but I do think Vanguard will be a much better game in a couple of seasons. The next question is going to be coming in from Huncho, who writes, Dear Nero, Cold War and Vanguard sold less than expected. It seems like Modern Warfare Roman numeral 2 and the next Black Ops setting being similar to Black Ops 2 is Activision's final attempt at keeping COD relevant. If they don't succeed in improving sales, do you think COD will be around for much longer? So, Huncho, I think COD is going to be around for at least another decade. Like, 100%. Like, there is no doubt in my mind that Call of Duty is going to be around in 2030. You know, I just definitely think that is going to be the case. COD has been around for so long. If you look at the fact that, like, I started with COD 4, but you have to think, you know, there's like 3 CODs that came out before that. Even more if you count things like United Offensive and stuff like that. Like, Call of Duty itself has been around for almost 20 years. I think it started, in 2003? And here we are. It's still a cultural juggernaut. It's still the best-selling game every single year. Like, the fact that Vanguard was the best-selling game in the United States in 2021, or one of the best-selling games anyway, just goes to show. Like, I mean, Cold War was the best-selling game in 2021 in the United States, and Vanguard was number 2. Like, Call of Duty, despite how bad things are, is always going to be popular, because I feel as though there's a very a very silent majority, I guess is the term I'm looking for, where everyone seems to maybe just enjoy COD. Like, if you're an average fan, you probably enjoy Vanguard for what it is. You get gold on your MP40 and you run around. Like, I see people in my lobbies all the time. It's like, how do you have fun running around with a riot shield on your back with a gold MP40 during double everything? Like, how does it make any sense? But they don't care. You know, this is what they do. They hop on, they try and get a couple kills. You know, they go positive, they brag to their friends about how good they are at the game, despite the fact that their KD's a 1.1, and they're stoked. You know, they have a lot more fun probably than most of us, because we know what good COD used to be like. So I think COD itself is going to be around for a very long time. I think that after we get Modern Warfare Roman numeral 2, things are going to basically take a shift. I think they're going to start doing some weird things. They're talking about that idea of having another Black Ops 2 style game. I have a feeling that some crazy stuff is going to be happening in the future in the form of like free-to-play Call of Duty. I think something like Call of Duty Mobile will eventually make its way to consoles. They definitely could be evolving Warzone at some point. Maybe that, what's it called? The Extraction Zone, or whatever they call it, is going to be like the new like Escape from Tarkov style mode that's going to be in Modern Warfare Roman numeral 2. Maybe that's going to take off. I just have a feeling something really weird is going to happen in COD here pretty soon, because we were coasting for a while, and then out of nowhere we had 3 straight years of jetpack games, and we had a remaster thrown in there as well. And since then, if you think about it, we've had World War II, we had Black Ops 4, Modern Warfare, Cold War, and now Vanguard. We've had 5 years. It's been a good 5 years. I mean, not really, but it's been nice to have 5 years without jetpacks. But I have a feeling we're due for some crazy shenanigans happening in the Call of Duty franchise. And I don't feel as though this is going to be like Guitar Hero, where eventually it just dwindles and dies. I think they're going to keep on pushing out stuff. I think there's going to be a lot of lawsuits and stuff happening in Activision, obviously, like they are right now. I think they're going to have to rebuild Activision from the ground up, which may or may not make the franchise better. I just think it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be crazy. And I'm going to be here for the entire ride, man, making videos and covering all of it. So I guess I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully you guys are as well. The next question is going to be coming in from some random person, that's actually his name, who writes, Dear Nero, do you think Treyarch will switch to the Modern Warfare 2019 engine, and do you want them to or not? So no, I definitely don't want them switching over to like the Modern Warfare / Vanguard engine. I liked Cold War. I love the way Cold War felt. I mean, going back to Modern Warfare 2019, which I did for a video that will be going up here in the relatively near future, I'll tell you what, man, it feels weird going back to that game. It feels like your character has like 500 pounds of like gear on their back, and you're just running in mud compared to Vanguard. But I thought Cold War had the superior engine. I thought Cold War had the superior multiplayer in every capacity, with the exception of the no flinch snipers. It's actually kind of crazy. Like, the entire year I was saying snipers are overpowered. We were all talking about how overpowered the snipers were in Cold War, even back during the alpha, whereas the sniping community, they'll never admit when snipers are overpowered. So they had to go the complete opposite and double down that the snipers in Cold War were the worst snipers ever. They're objectively the worst snipers in COD history. What do you mean? They aim down sights fractions of seconds slower than the DSR-50. How can we use these things? Meanwhile, the entirety of Cold War's life cycle. Have you ever tried playing Search and Destroy in that game? Literally everybody is overkilling with snipers. You try to play respawn modes, snipers everywhere. You try to play 6v6 with the small maps like the gunfight mosh pit playlist, nothing but snipers. They were everywhere. They're the worst snipers in COD history, yet like half the people in the game used them because they were so bad. Now, the reason why they used them was because they were so good. The fact they had no flinch made them ridiculously busted and very easy to use for everybody. And now we have Vanguard, where snipers do aim down sights pretty quick, but they have flinch, and suddenly all those snipers are just gone. It's kind of weird how that works out, right? When they were quote unquote terrible and busted, everyone was using them, but now that they're actually a little bit better, but they have a counter, you don't see them anywhere. It's just kind of how things go. The Call of Duty community is absolutely insane when it comes to that kind of stuff. But in general, going back to it, I would say that Cold War was the superior multiplayer, with the exception of the broken sniper rifles. So I hope that Treyarch continues with whatever game they're making next. Right now it's rumored to be like a Black Ops 2-ish style game that's going to be semi-futuristic but without jetpacks. If they do that, I hope they do it with the Cold War engine, or make the game's gameplay feel a lot like Cold War as compared to making it feel like Modern Warfare 2019 or Call of Duty Vanguard. The next question is going to be coming in from Hot Dog Water, who writes, Dear Nero, what is objectively the worst Thanksgiving food? Hope you're doing fine. I'm doing fantastic, Hot Dog Water. We don't usually talk about, I guess we do usually talk about it, but I kind of like mix it in and out of videos. Today's 100 days sober. which is actually kind of nuts. Yeah, it's been over 3 months, 100 days, hit triple digits, which is pretty crazy. But doing pretty well in general. I've had weird dreams lately, I suppose. I had a dream last night. It was really surreal. So I was at my childhood home, which no longer exists. And for some reason, there were bombs falling from the sky, and I was trying to record them with my phone for some reason. And I was in a tower where my house used to be. It was weird. Like, picture like a fire tower almost. I was like at the top of a fire tower, and I realized, wait, what if one of those bombs is going to aim for this fire tower? So I quickly get out of the fire tower, and I start running away from it, but then a bomb hits the fire tower, and then the bomb rolls down the hill that I was running down and murders me. And I was still alive, though. Like, I was a ghost in my dream. Like, I'm just, like, walking around. I can see everyone. I can like, interact with things, but I'm a ghost. No one, like, knows I'm there. It was really weird. Then my grandmother, who passed, like, 15 years ago, was alive again, and everyone just thought that was normal. It was a weird dream. I've been having lots of, like, very, like, weird dreams as of late, but in general, I've been doing very well. Thank you for asking. But what is objectively the worst Thanksgiving food? Dude, Thanksgiving's the best meal of the year. It really is. Like, people should have Thanksgiving, like, every 2 weeks or something like that. It's fantastic. But if I had to pick like a traditional, like, okay, if you have ham at Thanksgiving, you're just a bad person. Turkey is objectively the best way to go. But if I had to pick like a normal, like, traditional Thanksgiving food in general, not a fan of stuffing. Sometimes it's good. It's, I don't like coleslaw, but some people say, like, coleslaw is only good if it's done right. Like, this place has good coleslaw, but this place has bad coleslaw, I think stuffing's the same way. Stuffing can be good, but most of the time it's not. Therefore, I'm going to rank that as objectively the worst Thanksgiving food. The next question is coming in from Christian, who writes, Dear Nero, have you ever been surfing at the beach before? And if you haven't, would you ever try it? So, Christian, I live in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. There's no ocean near me. The ocean's like 10 hours away minimum. But I have been to Florida. It's weird. A lot of people around here, they have lots of... we just have family in Florida. Like, it's not even just me. Like, I have a lot of family in Florida, and a bunch of people around me that I know, friends and stuff like that, they also have family in Florida. It's like a thing in Pennsylvania. You get old, you retire, you move to Florida. But as a result, I've been to Florida for my great-grandmother's 90th birthday. We were down in Tampa. And that was my first time being at the ocean. I'm not a fan of salt water. It just makes me feel sticky. Not a big fan of that. But the ocean was beautiful. It was really cool. And that side of the family had a lot of money. My great uncle started a construction business, became a multimillionaire off of that. And, obviously lived down there in Florida and everything. And so his son grew up with a hobby of boats, like having like little mini, like not yachts, but like boats essentially. And he was a big fan of that. My uncle, the one that ran the construction business, who's no longer with us, he was a fan of flying. In fact, they lived in a flying community, like where picture like a big gated community where the roads doubled as runways. Because people had like their own little personal prop planes and stuff like that. Like, he took us up in his plane, and it was terrifying because I do not like heights. Let me tell you how it's just horrifying being up there in the sky like that. But his son, as compared to being in the airplanes, was in the boats. Imagine growing up with that much money, right? But he took us out there into the Gulf of Mexico, which is actually pretty cool. They took us to like this island that nobody technically owned, and it's like where all the boat people essentially live. Not live, but rather just hang out. Like, you go there, and like everyone that has a boat pulls up their boat on this island, and then they all just like party on these islands. It was actually pretty cool. And, we saw dolphins while we were out there. And unfortunately, I think I told the story forever ago, but eventually he wasn't paying attention, and we ran out of gas out there in the Gulf of Mexico. And a storm was coming in, like a pretty wicked storm. And apparently there's like a AAA that you can call for boats, but he couldn't get enough service to actually get a hold of them. And he eventually got service. He got a hold of his friend who drove out on his boat. Like, he gave, the latitude and longitude. He gave his friend our coordinates. His friend shows up, and he's like tossing us cans of gas that like they're like tied to a rope so we could like regas up and get back to shore before the storm got too bad. It's like pitch black and choppy waves, and it was pretty horrifying. Then we ran out of gas on the way back because he didn't give us enough, so we had to stop and get more gas. And that was my experience with the ocean, I suppose. I was also out in California one time a couple years ago when Borderlands 3 came out. People always ask, like, Nero, does Activision ever work with you? You ever gone out to Activision? No, never once. But I did get an invitation from Gearbox to go out and play Borderlands 3 early, which is pretty cool. They paid for the flight, and so I flew from Pittsburgh to Dallas and then to Los Angeles, and I got to play Borderlands 3 early. I was at the Borderlands 3 reveal event, and that was pretty cool. But I think I was only there for like a total of like 40 hours or something like that. It was nothing crazy. It was pretty funny though. When my Uber pulled up to the hotel, it's actually the W Hotel out in Los Angeles. As we're pulling up, there's like 2 or 3 hookers that are just like dancing on our car, like grinding on the car as we were pulling up because we're trying to find work, I suppose, right? And the Uber driver was hilarious. He's like, "Hey, you got a little company here tonight if you want it." I'm like, "No, thank you." And I go inside and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Joe. I'm here." And they had the room all set up and everything. I had my own hotel room and it was pretty cool. It was actually a pretty cool event overall. But yeah, so I haven't really had too much experience with the ocean. I live in Pennsylvania, man. Like, it's a pretty big deal if I actually see the ocean. The next question is going to be coming in from Flubby Tubbs, what a name, who writes, Dear Nero, if you could design a gun blueprint reactive or whatever your heart desires, what gun would it be for and what would it do? So, if we're talking like Call of Duty Vanguard and we can just go crazy with it, I would pick the Tommy gun because the Mosin gun's probably my favorite, but the Tommy gun is like, it's the Tommy gun. I love it. And it would be a reactive camo. It'd be something similar to what we saw back during Black Ops 4, but it would be water-based almost. Like, picture like the entire gun looking like water almost, having the water constantly move around, and as you get kills, the water evolves and does different things. Maybe little fishies show up. I don't know. I've always been like that kind of guy in video games where I always love aquatic themed stuff. I guess this ties into the previous question. It's because I live in the middle of like the woods, and as a result, the ocean and water and stuff like that's not exactly something that's super common around here, and as a result, I enjoy it when I can see it. I've always liked like aquatic things in video games, and I guess in real life as well. So I would definitely do like a water themed blueprint for the Tommy gun because the Tommy gun's one of my favorite guns in not only Vanguard but just Call of Duty in general. The next question is going to be coming in from Doc Rigor Mortis, who writes, Dear Nero, do you still have Barney and Clyde? And if so, how was it introducing your pup into the mix? So yes, I have two cats. Their names are Barney and Clyde. They were rescues, but the person that had them before, they were going to name them Bonnie and Clyde, but they were both boys, so it's Barney and Clyde. And yeah, so I still have them. I had them like maybe 3 years before I got Jax, who is my dog. He is a black lab Australian Shepherd mix. Basically just looks like a big black lab. And they were none too happy after living with me for like 3 years, and all of a sudden I have a dog. They actually hid in the basement for like the first month that Jax was here because they were like, they didn't know what's going on, and their litter box is down there, and I just took their food dishes down there for them as well because they refused to come out of the basement while Jax was here. They were like terrified of him. Then eventually they're like, all right, well, I guess the big walking furball thing is not going to be going anywhere, and so eventually they slowly started coming out of the basement and stuff like that, and now it's just normal. Like normally, like when I'm streaming or playing games or whatever, Clyde will be like right there at my feet underneath the desk, and then Jax will be sleeping behind me on the floor. Barney's always been kind of a loner. He runs off and just does his own thing. He never really like snuggles or like, when I go to bed, Jax jumps right up on the bed, Clyde jumps right up on the bed, but Barney never seems to. Barney's definitely like the alpha cat almost. He's a bit of a loner. Whereas Clyde is like the biggest sissy in the world, despite the fact that Clyde is bigger than Barney. But yeah, so I still have the cats, still have both cats, still have my dog, and they're very used to each other now. But the first month, they basically just hid from him because, they didn't know, like, what is this dog? Is he going away? Because I used to, like, dog sit my parents' dogs every now and then, and the cats would just hide in the basement for the 2 days or whatever that the dog would be here. And they probably assumed that Jax was just going to be one of those things. But then after a while, they realized, wait a minute, he's not going anywhere. So they just resituated themselves and kind of became acquainted with Jax, and they're fine. Like, the dog's not mean to them. They're not mean to the dog. They just coexist pretty fine. The next question is going to be coming in from Connor, who writes, Dear Nero, was there anyone specific you took inspiration from when starting your YouTube channel, or did you always want to become a YouTuber? If not, what other professions did you have in mind? So yeah, for sure. I think when you first start YouTube, you take inspiration from the people that you watch consistently, and I started watching YouTube back in like 2008, 2007, 2008, 2009, like the old school stuff. So we're talking Hutch, we're talking XCal, of course, Blame Truth back when, Wings of Redemption, Woody's Gamertag, Beyond and Scoreboard, if you guys remember those two. I watched all those guys, and I definitely think like some of their styles was influenced and relevant, I suppose, in my content when I first started. Until eventually I kind of just like evolved, I guess, and became my own thing. And I also later on would take a lot of inspiration from channels like Total Biscuit, RIP, definitely miss him. Yogi Slayer, RIP, once again, also miss him. And believe it or not, Force Gaming, if you guys remember him when he did a bunch of Overwatch stuff. He still makes YouTube videos, but it's more variety, I guess, is what you would call it now. He used to like solely focus on Overwatch and news and stuff like that, and I really like that style as well. It's definitely incorporated like a bit of that into my videos as well way back in the day. But what would happen if I wasn't the YouTuber? It's hard to say, man. It really is, because I started my YouTube channel 2011. So I started my YouTube channel when I was 19, if I have the math on that right. So I was like fresh out of high school pretty much. When I started my channel, I was fresh out of high school. I had a couple of jobs, like a customer service representative for AT&T, which was horrible. And I was unloading trucks at Walmart, actually, as like an inventory associate, if you call it that. Back when I started my channel, but then very quickly I started earning more money from my channel than I was from working at Walmart, and I'm like, well, what's the point of working at Walmart when I can just put all my time and effort into YouTube and make the same or more money? So then I started doing that. So basically my entire adult life has been YouTube, and what would happen if YouTube ended tomorrow? I don't know. We always joked that the post office is like the family business, because so many members of my family work for the United States Post Office, and it's actually a pretty good job if you can get in. So maybe I would do something along those lines. I always had the idea randomly I would go to school to become an electrician. I don't know why, but I've always had that idea. I don't know what I would do if YouTube was not a thing, but basically my entire adult life I've been a YouTuber, so I didn't really have to think too long and hard about what I wanted to do with my life. The next question is going to be coming in from Tay, who writes, Dear Nero, I enjoyed watching you dominate Mario Kart the other day. Are you going to play more? Also, are the Madden streams coming back? Oh, Tay, you're too kind. So I sucked at Mario Kart. I've never played a Mario Kart in my life. And I got Mario Kart for the Switch. I was streaming it the other day with my friends. They told me to take off like that assisted mode or whatever, where like the game kind of has like bumpers, like if you're bowling, like makes so you can't fall off the map essentially. And let me tell you, I was awful without those bumpers. And then after that, they started teaching me about drifting around turns and stuff like that. And I had to learn that like drifting was a major part of the game. And the longer you drift, the more of a speed boost you get. And I learned that if you do a trick every time you hit a jump, then you get a speed boost from that. So I was horrible. I knew nothing about Mario Kart when I first started. So I was getting my butt whooped. But I started playing a lot offline, 150cc, and I've gotten first place in every the first 5 Grand Prix so far. I'm like slowly going through and trying to get first place against the AI and learning the maps and learning the tracks and things like that, unlocking new vehicle customizations. So far, I think my main is Waluigi because he's hilarious. But yeah, I definitely think we're going to be streaming more Mario Kart. Are the Madden streams coming back? I've actually been playing a lot of Madden off stream. It's kind of like my chill game that I sometimes play like while I'm eating or whatever, And I will say, Madden is almost too easy. Unless I were to like completely change all the sliders, what I do is I go to the all Madden difficulty, right, which is the hardest difficulty in the game. I put on simulation mode. I leave all the sliders at default, wherever they want it to be, and then I play, right? I made a quarterback. I put my quarterback on the Saints to break up the variety or the monotony, I suppose, of always playing for the Browns. And I'm like, Saints need a quarterback. I made my player. I made him an undrafted quarterback, so he had superstar development rating, but he had like really, really bad stats right out the gate. And again, maybe the Saints are too good, and then now my quarterback's 99 overall because I'm like 7 seasons in, and I have like perfect accuracy, but the game's too easy on all Madden difficulty. Like I literally have won the Super Bowl. I have been playing Madden for longer than I've been playing COD, to be fair. I've literally been playing Madden for like almost 20 years, but I've won I'm in my 7th season. My first 6 seasons, I won the Super Bowl every single year. Every year on the all Madden difficulty. It's not like it's not even hard anymore. Like, even though he's in a lot of trouble IRL, the Saints end up making a trade because I just control my player essentially, right? So the AI controls all the trading and the free agency and all that. So we have Alvin Kamara at running back, Michael Thomas at receiver, Adam Troutman at tight end. Then they got Henry Ruggs, who has 99 speed, 99 agility, 99 speed, 99 acceleration, and 99 catching because he's been doing really, really well in Madden, and therefore his stats are going up. We drafted this receiver whose name was Alex Moss, who looks just like Randy Moss. Like, he's 6'5" and he's like 220 pounds or whatever, and he just catches everything. And like, my team is too good. Like, we put up so many points every single week, and my quarterback's got like perfect everything. So like, Madden is it's fun. I'm just like going through trying to see if I can become like the all-time leading passer. But I don't know if I'll ever stream it because I don't know how much fun people would have watching it. I suppose I don't know. It's just a game I play for fun, like in my spare time, which I don't really have too much of that these days. But definitely we'll do some more Mario Kart stuff in the future because it's pretty fun. The next question is coming in from Rewind, who writes, Dear Nero, do you invest in the stock market? And if so, what stocks are you into? I don't invest in the stock market at all anymore. When it was becoming really popular, I started to just for the memes. You know, I'd throw in $50 here, do $20 there. I invested in Doge a little bit. I did Bitcoin. I did PLTR back when everyone thought that was going to be massive, and a couple of other things because my friends were like, "Oh, dude, definitely do this, definitely do that." Overall, I'd say I lost $200 or $300 in the stock market, and then I got out. That was pretty much it. Like I didn't it was a waste of money. It was a waste of time. I didn't have the interest to actually pay attention to it. You know. It was something that when it was really popular and everyone's always talking about crypto and all that I got into it a little bit, but nothing crazy. It just wasn't for me. I mean, maybe someday I'll try to get back into it, but I feel like I should leave that to the professionals as compared to trying to get into it myself, I guess. The next question, the final question actually, is going to be coming in from Ram King, who writes, Dear Nero, what are your favorite main COD development studios ranked from least to most favorites? If we're going least favorite first, definitely Infinity Ward. As much as I say Sledgehammer Games has lost me, they still had a great game with Call of Duty World War II, and Advanced Warfare was at least serviceable, whereas in my opinion, Infinity Ward has not made a good COD since 2009. And that's crazy. Modern Warfare 2 was the last time I truly enjoyed an Infinity Ward game. Modern Warfare 3 was okay, but that was also co-developed by Sledgehammer, which is another point in the box for Sledgehammer, as was Raven Software. The second favorite main studio would be Sledgehammer. Like I said, they made World War II. They co-developed Modern Warfare 3. Advanced Warfare was good for what it was. I thought they had really good guns and really good maps and really fun score streaks. I just hated the movement. Like, the exosuits were very janky. Not a real fan of those, but I'd go Sledgehammer Games number 2, then Treyarch number 1. Most of my favorite COD games were made by Treyarch. Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 are my favorite. I'd say Black Ops 4 is a top 5 COD of all time. Black Ops 3, most people would agree, is pretty incredible. Cold War is pretty down there, truth be told. But in general, Treyarch tends to make pretty awesome multiplayers, in my opinion. Their stories are usually pretty good, although campaigns aren't really relevant because usually it takes anywhere from 3 to 6 hours, nothing's over, and you play it one time. It's not that big of a deal. But in general, I like Treyarch's multiplayer, and Treyarch Zombies, up until this year, has always also been pretty good. So to rank worst to best, it'd go Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, Treyarch. To rank best to worst, Treyarch, Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward. That's how I do it. But ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. There is this week's episode of Dear Nero. Sorry for going up on Thursday. I literally didn't realize that yesterday was Wednesday. Welcome to being a YouTuber / live streamer. I wake up, I make videos, I live stream, days are irrelevant, I suppose. I didn't even realize that yesterday was Wednesday. So apologies for this week's episode going up a day late. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hopefully it was worth the wait. If you did, consider leaving a like. And I'll see you guys with next week's episode of Dear Nero, which will be the first Dear Nero of 2022. Hopefully you guys all have a very safe and happy new year. Don't drink and drive. Be safe. Have fun. But most of all, be safe. Enjoy yourselves. And I'll catch you guys all very soon. Have a good one. Thank you all so much for listening. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.